Welcome to the Exes, a show where two exes give relationship advice. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Ed.
Hi, I'm Shakirra, and we're the Exes.
Yay!
Okay, so we're on the relationship advice subreddit, and I'm gonna go ahead and read this post, and then Ed and I will weigh in. Okay. My date, 32 male, put my 24 female phone on Do Not Disturb without telling me. I, 24-year-old female, have been seeing a guy, 32-year-old male, for a few weeks. We both seemed to fall fast for each other, but things started to mellow out. In a few weeks? Okay. One night we were hanging out at his place, and without warning, he put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I left pretty soon after, as I was meeting up with friends, and realized quickly that's why I wasn't getting any messages from them. When I approached him about it and said it was intrusive is in quotations, and that if he wanted my phone to not bother us, he could have asked me, he claimed that this is a perfectly normal thing to do, and the only reason he didn't mention it at the time was because he was busy paying attention to me. His response was a little assertive to the point of being aggressive. I personally found this really disrespectful and ties into some issues I have with him not respecting my time, as I work full-time and he doesn't. I can be overly weary of controlling men and can't tell if I'm overreacting. Could this in some way be considered normal behavior, or is this just a red flag?
My question is, number one, I'm gonna say that the guy is a fucking asshole. Like, never touch other people's phones.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
Especially if you haven't been in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a long-term relationship, don't fuck with your significant other's phone. You should still have a sense of privacy. But my question that I have is, what I'm wondering is, why does she feel a sense of guilt? Like, why is she doubting that this behavior is fucking toxic?
Yeah, I think you brought up great points. I agree with you on the phone thing. The second point you brought up about, like, why does she feel guilty and so overthinking this to the point where she's posting on Reddit?
Like, it's a clear red flag.
It is a clear red flag. The thing I'm confused about is, if you're gonna fuck with someone's phone that you're dating, why
Would you put on Do Not Disturb?
why wouldn't she just go through their messages? Or,
They did.
but why would you put it on Do Not Disturb? What purpose does that serve?
I don't know, man.
The other thing I'm confused.
Didn't you say he said that he wanted to spend uninterrupted time with her?
No, she said the only reason why he didn't mention it is because he was busy paying attention to me. I feel like she's assuming that he didn't want the phone to go off and bother them, but he never said why he did that. The other thing I want to point out is that these people have only been seeing each other for a few weeks, and she's saying their spark has mellowed out?
Yeah.
What?
I think they went at it too fast, or they had their fun, and then the honeymoon period is over, and then she realized that this was just fun, but it's not relationship
Yeah, but in
material.
a few weeks?
Yeah, I'm gonna need more context. I would like to say something though, like, how long did we date for? 3 years?
3.5 years.
3.5 years, I never took your phone and spied on it, never.
Thank you.
And then relationship advice is, like, if you're hanging out with someone and that person's on their phone and you would like them to put the phone down, just be like, hey, do you mind if we just have a mindful moment? Can we put both
I
our
like that,
phones
mindful
away?
moment.
And
That's
just
good language.
communicate, just use
Yeah.
words. Don't just fucking grab the phone and put it on Do Not Disturb.
I also think it's weird because, like, he knew he was going to get caught. He knew that she would realize her phone was on Do Not Disturb. I will say, though, that if my phone was on Do Not Disturb and I didn't do that, my first instinct would be like, oh, I must have clicked the wrong button. I wouldn't think that's somebody I just started dating. Like, what? The other thing that's strange about this post is that she has issues. She says, this ties into some issues I have with him not respecting my time.
I think there's a lot to unpack there. She has a lot to say.
But I just don't understand, like, he hasn't even had enough, like, how disrespectful is this motherfucker that he disrespects her time in a matter of weeks? And I think what you said, that they rushed into things too fast, makes sense, because if you already feel like somebody disrespects your time and you haven't even spent that much time with them.
It's clear that this relationship is over. Like, it should be over.
I agree.
Don't get me wrong, we all go through honeymoon periods, but at the end, when everything settles, you should still feel good about it. It's not like going out every weekend. You should be able to have fun going grocery shopping together and having some silent time, or watching movies together in silence, or cooking together. Like, all those small moments should bring you joy as a couple.
Yeah.
And that's how you know, like, that person is a keeper. When you have fun or have a sense of enjoyment while you're doing all these quote-unquote mundane activities.
Yeah. Everybody in the comments is saying it's a red flag because he shouldn't have touched your phone. So the other thing, what?
If I was an asshole, I would have turned off the phone, not put it under not
I
disturb.
know, right? Yeah. Like it's like not only do you inevitably get caught, but the payoff isn't that big for getting caught doing something. You know what I mean? The other thing that's strange is that I do wonder if maybe he did it to annoy her on purpose. Like, I had friends in college there were two guys that were roommates, and they really didn't get along being roommates. And one of the guys would wear his roommate's clothes behind the other one's back. And one time I was picking him up to go somewhere, and he like showed up in my other friend's shirt. And I was like, hey, isn't that like this person's shirt? Let's call him Kyle. That's not his real name. And he was like, yeah, I have to do these kinds of things on the low to keep my sanity. I have to do these passive aggressive things. So I wonder if the putting her phone on do not disturb was like a mild way to cause her a little bit of inconvenience and annoy her. I'm having trouble making sense of the behavior.
How old is the girl again?
She's young. She's 23 or something. Anyway, I think we've beat the 24. I think we've beaten this to death. So let's do our normal checkout. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is this behavior?
It's a little confusing.
It's confusing.
Like, the behavior itself is confusing. I think that this needs to end. She needs to find another guy. So yeah, the behavior is weird.
You have to choose a number.
It's just weird. Like, how do you?
I know it's strange,
confused.
but you have to choose a number.
7.9.
Okay, I think it's a 4, but I definitely think she should end it for the other reasons. But all right,
7.9 because it's just confusing. That's why I'm giving it a high mark.
Yeah.
Who the fuck does that? What is even the point?
I know, it's weird. All right.
And we have another question from a caller. This caller said, I'm tired of being single and I feel lonely. What can I do to find love?
And this is from a man, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any idea?
First thought is, whatever you're doing, if you approach women in real life, if you go out on dates from the apps, you do not want to come off as desperate. You need to check yourself. Ask your friends if you come off as desperate. Like, you don't want to come off as desperate.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Like, you need someone to tell you, hey, do I come off as desperate, yes or no?
Dude, I think if you have to ask, you already know. What my question for you is...
Sometimes, it's good to
Alright,
have
let me ask
some
you
feedback.
Let me ask you a question. Have you in your life ever felt desperate about anything?
Yes.
I feel like desperation is one of those things that... What?
I think that hunger and desperation are two things. I think hunger is in a very productive context because it can be motivating, but then desperate can make you seem sloppy.
I think the difference between hunger and desperation is, I like that you're bringing it up. I think it's like desperation has insecurity attached to it. But have you ever felt desperate about something? In the last 6 months, have you felt desperate?
Yes.
Okay, and I feel like if I would have told you that you're coming across a little desperate about this.
Yes.
Okay, so you and I were talking about the situation that a lot of young men are in. Like, just struggling to understand how telling somebody that they're coming across desperate is going to help them become less desperate.
Because it's feedback. It's, okay, you want X result. Here is some feedback so you can that's going to help you achieve X result.
I guess I'm struggling with that because I see desperation is an effect, it's not a cause. So like, when you're feeling desperate, whatever that root of the unworthiness, insecurity, the longing is, my advice would be to figure out where is that feeling coming from? What is driving it?
That's the job of a therapist, not your friends.
Who said it wasn't a job with a therapist?
Like, I think the question is, as a friend, what advice do you give that person who's desperate?
So I guess I'm having trouble, like, actually thinking about this in terms of a man. If I had a girlfriend who was desperate about dating, I would tell her that I think the best thing to do when you're feeling really desperate is to actually take a break from dating. Because I feel like when you're desperate and you're giving off that energy of insecurity, like, it actually pushes people away, and then it confirms the belief that you have that you're not good enough. I think desperation is like a, what is that called? A cycle. What is that called?
Vicious cycle?
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, but if you take a break and then you come back, you're gonna still come back and do all the wrong things.
No, I'm not saying just a break is enough. I think a break is a good starting point to take all those neurons that are firing, that cycle of trying and failing, that urgency that you have, to let it all calm down a little bit and to show yourself that it's not like you can impose a sort of healthy self-isolation, not total isolation, but from dating and romance on yourself and be okay. Like, and let yourself find strength in that time. And just surrender to the fact that, like, it's not here right now. That doesn't mean it's never coming. But I actually think there's a lot of strength in saying, instead of being a victim of what is happening outside in the world, I myself am going to hit pause on this and reevaluate. I think that there's actually so much strength and, like, self-esteem that can come from surrendering to the truth of what is. And it's like you're running on a treadmill and you hit pause on the treadmill and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a break. I think that's a good first step.
But then you're gonna come back and still do all the wrong
things. I'm not saying you don't do anything.
You need tools. You need tools.
Okay, yes,
you need a tool set.
Give us a tool.
So you can come back, re-energize,
Okay, give us a
different
tool.
game plans. I think the tool is, number one, is you need to work on your confidence. How do you do that? I don't know, somebody just slap you in the fucking face.
Okay, I agree that working on confidence as a man is really important for dating, but you can build, like, surface level skills to improve your confidence with women, but if you don't deal with the insecurity that's driving the desperation.
That's what I said. This is a job for a therapist. The caller is trying to ask us as friends.
My advice is
For
to
advice.
go to therapy.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, a professional has to do some fucking surgery. There's some things you can treat with
Or
a pill
another way to say
or a
it is
massage.
a professional can help you reconnect to your primal divine sense of self-worth that you had when you were born. And then, yes, I do think you need to learn how to talk to women. Talking to women is an art form. If I had a son and my son said to me, Mom, no girls want to talk to me, pretty girls never want to talk to me, I'd be like, did you clean your room? Are you dressing right? Do you look clean? Are you charming? Are you interesting? I don't know. Those are, like, things that you
Yeah,
do.
that's important feedback. I also think that I was having a conversation with a friend that more women and I guess specifically men need to hype each other out. Say someone got a raise. Hey, congratulations on the raise. Like, you're fucking
build each
smart.
other's
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's a stigma, like, with men. I don't know if it's like
Yeah, it's perceived
territorial
as
thing,
ironic, right?
or it could be perceived as weak. But no, if you have a friend you consider close, like, fucking hype them up. Hey,
I agree with that.
awesome job. You did this, you did that, or hey, you're very smart. Like,
You know how I
blah,
feel?
blah.
I feel if we can heal men, we'll heal the world. And healing
Even-
men starts with other men healing men.
And even if you're at a bar and you're chatting up some stranger, you know, the bar isn't dead, you're talking to someone, and say that person just bought a new Porsche, for example, be like, hey, congratulations, that's a very beautiful car. Are you celebrating a special occasion? What do you do? And then just hype them up, congratulations. And you can still be confident when you say that. It's all on the delivery. Like, you can be all fucking simpy and so and be like, oh my God, you're such a guy, you bought a Porsche. No, you just be confident, be like, hey man, congratulations. That's a very beautiful car.
Yeah, by any means necessary. Men need to build each other up.
And women too.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We also put each other down, but we do build each other up.
So, I think that it would be helpful if a woman friend compliments a guy, hypes a guy friend, so that it helps build that person's self-esteem, or just make them feel good in general.
Ooh, a guy
So,
friend?
for example, say you're talking to ex-guy friend, be like, hey, like, why are you feeling down? Hey, you're a good-looking man, you have a good job, you have a house, you have a nice car, you're smart. Like, don't feel down. Like, just because some rando that you approached at a bar said no. That's just one person.
No, I love that. I personally feel like most of if we could think of this problem, the solution to this problem in the pie chart, for me, 65 to 70% of it is therapy, dealing with what are those core beliefs that you have about yourself that make you feel insecure, unworthy, etc. Because there's two reasons why to do that. The first reason is when we feel unworthy, insecure, then we look outside for external validation. And secondly, when we feel insecure and unworthy, when we do reach out for genuine connection, that's not just us looking for validation, it can like taint the quality of those connections. It can attract us to people who are not right for us, etc. So that's why I think therapy needs to be 65 to 70% of this puzzle. But the other thing I was going to say, which is a conversation we've had before, there is an art and science to talking to women. And like you do have to know how to approach a woman, how to handle like those early stages of courtship, because as much as I don't want to admit it, there is this mystique about bad guys. The reasons why women are attracted to bad guys are varied and complicated and too many to get into today. But the one that I do want to bring up is that bad guys, they have this air of not caring. I don't think that pretending like you don't care is the right way to do dating, but I do think that when you come across as an independent, secure person with options and you value yourself, girls are really attracted to that. There's something about a desperate guy who wants you too much that girls don't like, and it's not just for the like toxic pop culture reason of girls don't like nice guys. It's because we can feel it when you don't value yourself, when you don't respect yourself, when you keep texting us even though we've demonstrated that we're not interested. If I'm not interested in a guy, I'll give you a concrete example, okay? I matched with this guy on Hinge, and he was like texting me all the time. We had a good text conversation, but then he was texting me like way too much all the time. Like it was concerning. I was like, I don't know, this guy seems really clingy. So I like set some boundaries. I was like, hey, I'm with my family right now. I'm doing this right now. And he like continued to text me, and I was like, hey, I need some space. We had not even met yet. And I was like, I need some space he kept calling them check-ins. He was like, I'm just texting to check in. I was like, I need some space without check-ins. And he texted me again and was like, this is not a check-in.
Oh my God.
And so I ended up cutting things off with that guy, telling him like, hey, look, I don't have the capacity to date right now. I'm sorry to anyone who's gotten that line from me, because now everyone knows that the real reason is because I'm just not that into it. But anyway, point being, like, the thing that put me off from the guy in the first place, that he was like being too clingy, that was number one. But number two is that here I am telling him I need space, and he doesn't even respect himself enough, right, to not be up the ass of a girl who's already said that she needs space. That tells me that not only is he gonna suffocate me, he also does not respect himself as a man.
And he's clearly not talking to other.
So like it or not, girls are looking to see if you respect yourself. And it's not always about us toxically trying to go after the bad guy. A lot of the times it's us like trying to see, how do you regard yourself, right? Because that's the other thing. The desperate guy who's really needy and clingy, he doesn't love me for me. He's just lonely. Like, I want to know that when a man is giving me attention and courting me, it's It's because he actually likes me, not because I'm just a warm human body. There was actually a time in my early 20s where I went down the extremely dark rabbit hole of pickup books for women. Yes, they do exist.
Wow, wait, really?
Yeah, before I met you. Please do not read them, but some of the titles are From Dream Girl to Doormat. You had him at Hello, a saleswoman's guide to getting your man or something.
Why do women need a pickup book?
Another one was
If you're gay, I guess that makes sense, but...
Another one was Why Men Love Bitches, and then there's a follow-up to that book called Why Men Marry Bitches. I never read that. Maybe that's not why I'm not married, but anyway, point being, like, those books really fucked my head up and would never ask a man to go down that road. But I'm not asking you to go a mile down that road, but I think a few steps down that road where you learn, like, how to be charming, how to be confident, how to talk to girls, how to... In the beginning stages of dating, I do think it's important to be a little bit, you're not playing games, but you're being a little coy, not on purpose, but because you genuinely have your own life and other interests. Like, you don't want to appear eager. Don't appear eager, because here's the thing. I know, Ed, you want to say something, but I got to get this last point out. The thing with eagerness is that girls know that you do not know enough about them to be crazy about them in the beginning. If you're crazy about me without having gotten to know me, that tells me that it has nothing to do with me. And so I do think it's important to have a stable foundation within yourself to where you don't have that eagerness, and that when you are really crazy about a girl that you've got to know, then you can be a little intense, you can pursue her, you can do all of these things that the right girl will probably really love, depending on the girl, but I really love that. But it has to feel genuine. It has to feel rooted in me. So that's also my 2 cents. I do think there is like an art and a science and a style to like pursuing women in a way that's self-respecting and confident, but still healthy. You're not playing games. You're not ignoring her on purpose, but you are being just a little bit withholding. Just a little mysterious, just a little...
Speaking of mystery, there's this book that I'm not going to say that it changed my life, but it changed my perspective on everything. How to like approach women, how to...
So give us an
and dating.
example.
So this book is called The Mystery Method by Eric von or something. And I read it front to end, and it just completely changed my perspective because it vouched for doing completely the opposite of what we're told that somehow about how to approach women, how to behave, etc.
Can you give us some examples?
So for example,
What were you doing before?
before I was being fucking simpy, be like, oh, hey, can I buy you a drink? And then just doing everything, just doing and saying everything just to please whoever I'm talking to.
Okay, and then how did the book start to shift your mindset?
The book said you are an individual, pretend you have... Okay, I don't want to say pretend have all the power. That sounds wrong. Sounds a little rapey. No, it says you're an individual. You are good and not good enough. You're an individual. You're a strong individual. You have options. Find someone. The first 3 seconds you make eye contact with someone, go and say hello. That's one of the principles. Within 3 seconds, you just go and say hello. Or at least wave.
I think that's a good tactic.
That's something that I do because it's easy. Like, you can just, if you make eye contact with someone, like smile or just wave really quick. That's it. You don't even have to go and talk to them.
Yeah.
But that serves as a seed for later. Say you're on the way to the bathroom, be like, hey, how's it going? And be like, do we know each other? No, but we're pretty, blah, 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 blah.
Wait, all right, I have a question about this, but I'll let you finish.
My favorite one is the negging part. It's like you compliment them playfully, but then you gonna, what's the word?
It's a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it's
like, you look pretty
tease,
today.
And then you tease and please, but you're just joking.
I can't
That's my
co-sign
favorite
this.
one.
I don't co-sign this.
Because not a lot of women, 90% of the women are not used to that. They're just used to getting their asses kissed. So it throws them off. Wait, what? Why is this guy not kissing my ass?
Women that society finds
But
attractive
This is a very fine line. That negging is a very precise art
I
because
don't think negging is
it can
good.
go off as very insulting.
Okay, instead of
No,
negging,
what I'm saying, you're not negging her the whole time. It's just like a one-liner. You neg. You have one negging
Okay,
card
neg me right now.
for the whole time. It's hard because we have so much history.
If you were gonna neg that girl right there. We're in a bar right now, by the way.
Which one?
One in the houndstooth jacket.
I'll be like, The house too jagged. Oh, and be like, hey, how's it going? Didn't realize it was rainbow. I didn't realize it was raining today. Nice boots.
Okay, counterpoint to your negging. I think that if I was...
That was not my best
Yeah,
line.
that
I'm
was
just.
bad.
That's why I'm trying to go to the improv class.
Listen, if it's sold out, by the
I'm
way.
a little rusty.
All the sections of the improv class are sold out. But I think if I was on a first date with a man and he looked me in the eye and gave me one very genuine compliment about some aspect of myself, like, that would make me feel really good, right? That's one way to do it. But I don't want him to act like he's lucky to be there. What the fuck? You think you're lucky to be there? If you think you're lucky to be there, I'm gonna go get somebody who deserves to be here. Because being lucky to be there and deserving to be there are two different things. Anyway, so how do you feel like, I'll say this too, even when we started dating, first of all, background, I had a major crush on Ed. I liked him before he liked me. I had a boyfriend and I had a crush on Ed. I would go to his shop all the time. He had a coffee shop and sit there and wait for him to talk to me and shit. Unfortunately, he I think semi-friend zoned me for a while, and then I had to claw my way out of the friend zone. But in any case,
Because I had options.
and in any case, when we first started dating, I was completely head over heels for you. But even then, I made sure that if we didn't have a date, I had other things going on. I would never sit around and wait for you to call me. I would never sit around and hope that you would call me. And I remember one time you commented on it. You were like, you did something impromptu and you didn't invite me. I was like, why didn't you invite me? And you're like, you always have things going on. And in that moment, I was like, hell yeah, I always fucking have things going on. Don't you forget it. But I do want to bring this back to what we're talking about and say that I want to ask you a question. If there was one big takeaway, more philosophical, that the mystery, what is it? Mystery method? Mystery method, one thing you believe about relationships or courting, dating, flirting, what do you feel is one big takeaway for you after reading the book and after having that mindset shift?
Don't put anyone on a pedestal.
I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Nobody.
So the other thing I want to talk to you about, this is maybe a little bit of a departure from our main...
Just one last thing before we continue. Also, I would recommend How to Make Friends and Win Them. Wait, what's it called? Dale Carnegie. How to Make Friends and Win Them Over, something like that. Sounds a little manipulative, but I think that's a very important skill to make friends with women. And then these girls see you with other women, you're like, what the fuck?
Okay, I think you should make friends with women if you want to be friends with
yeah,
women.
that's what I'm
and
saying.
See that she
But I'm
has,
saying
inherent value. And
okay, what I was trying to say
What the
is
that's 2 levels of toxic. It's not really being friends with your women friend, and then using that fake friendship to try to make other girls jealous.
That's exactly how it came off, and that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that when you go out, you should make friends with everybody. If you talk to a girl, sometimes you should just approach it in a way of just making friends. Or even making friends with guys, too.
So you're saying, be open to connection. Be open to connection. Yeah.
When you approach someone, just don't make it a point to, I want to get this girl's number. No, it's okay to just talk to someone, to a girl, and then just leave. Hey, nice talking to you. See ya.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want to say anything
No, that's
else?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, how to win friends,
and influence people.
And influence people, because that teaches you how to converse, how to have conversations.
Yeah. And I just want to add to your point of this girl at the bar has a shaved head and is wearing a crop t-shirt that says, I love hot dads.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, I just want to add to your point to say, if you're open to connecting with all kinds of human beings, right? And you have this stability in yourself, but then this openness to other people, then you don't have that singular focus of, I want to meet somebody. If I don't, I fail.
Yeah.
You have to have it moving from desperation to openness, I think is the goal. But what I wanted to talk to you about is, and I want to be careful with this conversation because I know it's tricky with consent and stuff, but I want to talk about guys asking if they can kiss a girl. So let me pause right there and ask you what you think about that before I say anything else.
If
you're dating a girl for the first time,
and then you ask her, can I kiss you?
do you do that?
No.
You just do it.
you just know when the right time is.
So I want to say a little bit about that. I don't know. I feel like this has been a trend more in the last 3 or 4 years of like guys asking. And I'm all for consent. I think consent is really important. Active consent is extremely important. So many people don't understand it. But personally, for me, I'm not saying anybody else, I don't like it when a guy asks that. It's not a problem, but I don't like it because, to your point, I feel if you're reading the signals, right? If you're reading her body language, if you're accurately reading the social situation, you should know when the moment is right. And I feel like that's part of what I'm saying of being like a confident man who's non-desperate. Like, it's not you trying to force that moment to happen, but having this security and stability in yourself to where you can be perceptive and sensitive to when the moment does arise. And then doing it, I'm sorry, but
You should just be aware of the body language. You just know, like,
Right,
if girls into
right.
you, like, you can just go for it.
Yeah, but I feel like there is that difference between, I think a lot of guys, like, aren't used to girls being nice to them, and they can't tell the difference. That's the other thing, right? You have to have that discernment of, oh, this girl really wants to kiss, right? Versus, oh, this is the first girl to be nice to me in 8 months. There's a lot of guys out there who will misperceive just niceness for like open sexual signals. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, a bunch of the people that have asked me that question, like, we were already in a situation where like we had texted about sexual things, or we were like, whatever, like, you know, touching or whatever, and someone asked the question in that situation. If you're confused, I think you can ask it, you know what I mean? There's also another situation where I could, like, the moment is right, like, we've changed locations, like, it's clear to everyone what should happen, and the other person just won't do it. And in those situations, I will literally say, this is awkward, you should kiss me, which is my favorite line. Yeah.
Damn.
But anyway, do we have anything else to add about
That's a good, that would be an interesting slogan for the podcast.
Yeah, but
This is awkward, you should
I
kiss
want
me.
to be very clear that I only do that when I have waited like 30, 45 minutes, and it's clear to everyone what's going on. Like, the conversation has come to that natural lull. We've changed locations. We're looking at the sunset. We're looking at the sky. We're sitting on the beach. Like, all these things have
That's
happened.
fucking romantic as hell. Jesus.
It's okay, you know what I mean? But that's besides the point being, I think that's bringing it back to this like strong, independent sense of your worth. I think that's where you can start to make these kind of more powerful, for lack of a better word, decisions. If you go into a date as a man, you feel strong, centered, secure, independent. You're not assuming that you're going to kiss that girl. I do think that gives you clearer vision so that you can notice the moment when it does happen and you don't make those like accidental mistakes, you know?
There's a saying that common sense is not so common for some people. So I think if there's someone that cannot tell when someone is into you, if you have a hard time picking up on cues, you should buy a body language book and learn how to read body language. Because you can tell a lot. Like, just going out at a bar, you can tell who's into who and if they're not.
That's an interesting situation.
So if you're on a date, you can just check her out and see, not check her out, but you can just look at her body language, be like,
You can ask a question. You don't have to ask, can I kiss you? You can ask, how are you feeling? You can ask, how are you doing? You can ask, what would you like to do next? She's not going to say it. She's not going to say, I want to kiss. But she could say, if you're confused, I think if you're confused, you should ask a question.
I think that the best move you can do is, hey, can I walk to your car? And then you gotta be on like alert mode and read her body language.
I don't like that,
Read the body
when
language.
guys ask me that, I always feel really trapped. And sometimes I'll be like, no, I got it. Because I don't want to.
I think everyone should walk a lady to their car.
It's really scary. It's scary. Sometimes it's really scary.
I get that, but
But by
they're
the time
dangerous.
I'm scared of them, the date has already gone off the rails.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm scared of you by the end of the first date, like,
I keep forgetting that everyone has a good heart. There's a lot of fucking creeps out there.
yeah. Anyway, okay, let's bring it back to our topic. So for this caller, do we have anything else to say?
Closing thoughts for this caller, fucking go to therapies. There's some things that your friends can help you, but if the problem is very deep, you need professional help.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then just the last advice I'll give you is learn how to have fun by yourself or
Yeah, I
have
love
fun with
that.
your friends. That's it.
Great advice.
Learn,
That's
find stuff to do that you can do by yourself that you can have fun, or just go out and have fun with your friends.
I like
Because
that.
then you're self-sustainable. You're self-sustainable. You're self-sustaining. You don't need anyone to make you happy or have fun.
I love that. And this isn't us saying love comes when you least expect it or stop looking or any of that. This is really about, in my opinion, the way that I interpret the advice you just gave is if you want a relationship or you want to attract love, like where does your life already mirror love? Where does your life already mirror excitement? Because if you want someone to come in and provide that, I think it's the wrong mindset. Like, somebody's going to be attracted to love and excitement if you already have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of unfortunate new age advice out there, but I think the one thing they do get right is frequency. And what I mean by that is if your life is full of love and excitement and feels full and satisfying to you, you're at a certain frequency where you can attract more of that. It's not any weird law of attraction stuff. It's just like natural. If somebody is really happy and they're laughing, like you want to go talk to them, so you can be happy and be laughing and have fun. So I think there's that. I also wanted to just say that if you're feeling desperate, insecure, that's like really normal. That we're not like demonizing you or saying that's bad. There's been plenty of times in my life where I have felt desperate, unattractive, worthless, insecure, sometimes about dating. It does happen to, I think, most of us, and it's totally normal.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're like encouraging you to pause whatever you're doing and take a break from dating and go work on yourself isn't because you're not worthy or because you're broken. It's because we want you to have better. And just know that desperation is a natural feeling. All humans feel. It's a signal that you're looking outside for something that you can give yourself inside. And like, it's very human and life is hard and sometimes we get desperate.
Yeah, like even the most like confident people, they do feel desperation. They feel down sometimes, and like you said, those are normal human feelings.
Yeah.
So it's good to just take a pause, do something that makes you happy, or just stay home for the weekend, recharge, and then everything will be back to normal.
You might not be back to normal. You might need to go to therapy. I think that
Like once you get to a stable spot, you will have ups and downs. It's normal.
Yeah. I think desperation is not evidence that you're broken. Desperation is evidence that you're alive and that you want things. And that's great news. Wanting things, longing for things, that's like a very beautiful thing.
Yeah.
The key is just to turn that experience of feeling lack into an experience of nurturing yourself and satisfying yourself first, because as much as I think desperation is a normal energy, bringing that energy into dating, it's not that it's immoral or that it's cringy. It just doesn't work very well. Yeah.
I think those are very solid closing thoughts.
All right.
That is all for today's episode.
The exes.
I appreciate you listening. Follow and subscribe. And if you think someone can find this useful, please share the link, tell your friends, and have a good night.
Bye.